Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. We have come to the end. We are at the end of my ocean themed videos. I cannot believe where the time has gone. It feels like it's flown by, and yet at the beginning I was like, how am I going to do 3 videos a week on ocean for the next 5-6 weeks? It's crazy that I've done it. So I'm really happy. I am ready. I'm so ready to move on to autumn and then move on to Halloween. So tonight is the final ocean themed video, but thank you so much for all of your support throughout all of them. I never even got round to doing 2 things that I really wanted to try. I never got round to it, so I've put them on the list for next time. And also I never got round to doing any flat work, any flat oceans, one of my favorite things to do. So if you're interested in those, of course they are in my playlist. Maybe I'll make an ocean playlist. Yes, I'll make an ocean playlist, and then any oceans I've done in the last 4 years, you'll see them in there. So if you're interested in how to get waves done, like wave lacing, how to create ocean waves in oceans and things like that, the flat work that I talk a little bit about in this video, if you're interested in those, I will put them all in a playlist so you can go and check them out as well. But yes, autumn, bring it on. I am ready. It's going to be raining so many days next week and I'm beyond excited. Other than that, I have got a few things to share with you. I've got some exciting collaborations coming up. I am now an affiliate for Shadow Foam, so I have a Shadow Foam video coming up as well. And Tech Wrap. So Tech Wrap are a huge vinyl company and they have sent me the most incredible vinyls. I never knew vinyls like this existed. So I've got some heat press vinyls for my heat press, and I've got some craft vinyls as well to show you, and I've got a few other collaborations in the pipeline. And yeah, so there's a lot of other things coming up as well. So I think the next couple of videos is just going to be like a little pathway into the autumn Halloween, because Halloween, if you know me, you'll know I love Halloween crafting. Love it. I absolutely love it. Anyway, I've been talking for what feels like forever, so I'm going to stop talking. This is the very final ocean themed video. I hope you love it, and yeah, that's it. Bye. So the seashells I'm going for are of course the Scallop shells. Now these shells I used in a previous video. You would have seen we went on to make our very own DIY silicone inlays using these, and they were huge and gorgeous. Now I am going to use 2. I was thinking about just doing 1, but I didn't think it would be enough. I'm not very good at inside oceans. They're not my forte. I do not thrive on inside oceans. I prefer flat work on oceans when you do them on flat wooden boards and things like that. Inside oceans, not very good at them, but I was so desperate to try this, I figured we might as well do it together instead of me just sitting all by myself and having a play. Anyway, I am balancing out my scallop shells on some polymer clay. Now again, I'm just eyeballing this because what you don't want is for the resin to go in and pour off the sides, either around that scalloped edge or around that square base. So at the moment I've just got them resting, really quite solidly resting on some polymer clay. And then as I pour the resin in, I'm just going to kind of gauge, do they need moving? Does the scallop edge need to be pushed down closer to the table? Do I need to raise it up, etc.? So I'm going to be using the Alcohol Inks by Let's Resin. I'm using the Ocean Azure Blue. I absolutely love this colour. Similar to previous videos really, I want the darker blue to be in the deepest part of the ocean, followed by a lighter blue, and so on to get shallower and shallower. So this is where I decided to pour quite slowly just to see where is the resin going, what is the relationship going to be. Is it going to fly up? Am I gonna get much coverage, etc, etc? So yeah, it was quite good. Just pour slowly and see where it goes. As it happens, I feel like I pretty much got the angle okay on this one, and I don't really think I had to adjust it much. The biggest worry on these scallop shells, if you see the straight edge along the square section, the squared off edge, along there is a divot, a tiny little dip. Now I'm no seafood shell food expert but there is a dip there, so there is a risk that this is like it's like a spout on a pan. You know when you get a pan and there's a little spout, it looks like that. So my biggest concern was making sure that the resin did not rise up to that spout, otherwise I would lose a lot of it over the edge. And that is where, if you've got it on polymer clay, you can just adjust it, you can push it down accordingly to wherever your resin is going. But as it stands right now, I didn't have to do much adjusting. I felt like the scalloped edge could be closer to the table so that the resin fans out a bit more than it did. And then I just ended up finishing off with a clear resin around the edge to push all of those colours in and hopefully give me a really nice blended ombre effect. Now, the resin I'm using is a Vista Cascade, I believe. I decided to go to Vista Cascade just to minimise the air bubbles and, you know, give me that 24-hour cure time. All of the details for Vista will be in my description box alongside my Let's Resin 10% discount code as well. I am an affiliate for Let's Resin and I am an ambassador for Vista. Don't know why I'm trying to do all that in one breath. I can't breathe. But anyway, I decided to put some seashells in. Now, two things here. As soon as I put the seashells on, I was toying with the idea of just letting them sit there, just letting them rest on the surface. But I also wanted to add depth. I really felt like to the naked eye, you've got more interest. There's going to be more interest there if you see shells right at the bottom of the shell. And it definitely does add interest. It definitely for sure does. So this is the next day. And this is layer number 2. Now, do you guys remember these? I used them within the last year. I've used them. Time is a blur. These are by Moray Lothian Woodworks. Now, Moray does all of my laser cutting for me if there's anything I need. So I did purchase these, not sponsored, but if there is anything I need, he also did my logo stamp, my Claire's Crafty Corner logo stamp. So Moray Lothian Woodworks, last year I asked him to cut me some sea creatures. Now you would have seen these as well. I've used them in previous videos. He cut me these ridiculously teeny tiny ones that I asked him to, and he also cut me some medium sized ones and quite large ones, which I think would make gorgeous pendants on their own, like huge shark pendants. So I'm using the teeny tiny ones because I've not used them yet, and I think because of the size of this scallop shell, these would be absolutely perfect ratio size for the project that I'm using. Anyway, do I waffle, guys? Help me out here. I feel like some days I'm just like blah. I am actually coating them all in black acrylic paint just to make sure that they are fully sealed before I put them in resin. Do you need to do this? Not necessarily, but I do want the black silhouette. I don't want wooden sea creatures in my oceans, so I am just making sure that I've coated them thoroughly with black acrylic paint before putting them in and let them dry. Now, this Wave Pro by Resin Pro was sent to me by a patron. I've never used it before, but I figured I'd have a go right now. Again, inside oceans and waves, I'm not very good at them. I'm really not very good at them. If you'd like to see the kind of ocean waves that I do to get those magnificent lacing effects in the white foam of when the wave crashes up on the beach, I have got 3 videos on my channel where I have made resin oceans on flat pieces of board, and they are up there as my favourite resin works to date. So if you'd like to see more of that, then definitely go check them out. I will leave them all across in the cards that show up at the top of the screen. These are what I call the inside oceans. It's harder to get the wave detail when you're doing an ocean inside of a thing, inside of a mould, because usually when I do resin oceans, I'm using my heat gun and the resin is flying off the edge, giving the resin more of an organic and natural flow and giving me that lacing, that kind of wave lacing. I can't get it in these. I just can't get it. So any tips at all? Now, I've placed my sharks into this little shallow layer of resin. I'm using Vista Turbo here because it's a really shallow pour and I'm not too fussed about bubbles because I can torch that resin really well and get them out. And I'm going easy on the white. Now, I've added Vista white pigment and I've added that powdery Wave Pro stuff, just to see if I can get any lacing in these. And it starts off well. It starts off well. I'm excited. I've got my industrial heat gun here. This is actually a heat gun for paint stripping, a builder's kind of DIY decorator's paint stripper. Perfect for ocean waves. And yeah, I was excited. I was getting movement. You just want to go real slow. The heat on these is bad boy heat. This is like really hot. Hotter than your heat tool, hotter than a hairdryer, hotter than anything you've ever experienced. So if you've got anything laying around your piece, move it out of the way, because I could hear one of my plastic bottles starting to melt. So yeah, be safe, always be safe. Like I said, this to me is an inside ocean, so I do struggle getting those laces, the lacing effect. It doesn't have to have lacing. Everyone likes different wave styles, but my favourite is when you get that absolutely incredible lacing. But like I say, really tricky to achieve when you're doing resin oceans in this kind of format. When you've got walls, the walls almost block anything from happening. And I felt like with this project in particular, every time I pushed the waves out, they bounced back. Like they didn't want to go anywhere. So I don't know if that was the Resin Pro powder or if that was the Vista White Cascade pigment, because I've never used either to create waves before. Having said that, I'm kind of liking them the way they are. I'm looking at them here. The one on the right has definitely got more depth to it. It looks like there's two waves crashing in. I did hit them with my blowtorch just to see if that would support any of the lace development. It didn't. It definitely didn't. I'm just pouring over some clear resin over to my sharks to get them fully sealed in before I put the very final layer of resin on. But yeah, any tips on getting really cool waves when you're doing them inside a vessel? I would really appreciate if you could write them in the comment section down below.